The customer's 1977 Fiat 124 Spider. It's a 1600, as I recall. We've got some basic tune-up stuff. I think I'm doing rear brakes and a timing belt. I think a coolant flush. I think that's the majority of stuff. I think there might be a couple of other stupid little things, but I think I'm gonna start digging into this today. I've got to go through the manual, because I bought a manual, to see what it needs. I figured I'd get started on this while I'm waiting to hear from this guy, because that's bad. So let's open the box of parts and see what I got, and start digging into some of the stuff. Oh, all right. Parts box. Parts courtesy of Auto Reassembly. Is it Auto Reassembly? Exhaust donut. A drive shaft rebuild. Radiator cap flew off at one point. Clutch return spring is a mess. Timing belt. Oh, I don't remember what this is. I think this has something to do with the timing belt. U-joint, other U-joint. Cap, rotor, plugs, yada yada yada. Rear brake pads. A support unit for the drive shaft. This is La Manuel. Oh! Spiral down. Look at that. Wow. That's pretty. So I'm gonna do the timing belt, and I know that camera's gonna fall off while I'm doing it, and I know it's probably gonna fall off into the coolant bucket, which is gonna irritate the hell out of me. So I'm gonna try to move that real quick. Oh God, please don't fall into that. In order to do this, I've got to take this cover off, and the manual says to disconnect the battery and all that, pull the plugs out, and then I have to set it in firing position for number 4, I guess. And then I was going to drain the coolant system anyway because it seemed to be straight water. So I'm going to pull the upper rad hose off, lower rad hose off, and probably just take all these hoses and shit off so that I can take this off and take the cover off. I'll have to take that belt off as well. So I'm gonna drain this first, and then hope that I don't muck everything up after that. And all right, got all the hoses off. So next thing I gotta do, or the next thing I'm gonna do, is take the charge belt off. Once I do that, I will pull the plugs and rotate the motor and wherever the manual told me to rotate the motor to, and then I'll take this union off and the cover and see what we're working with for the timing belt. All right, got the belt off, and I've got that union off. So now I can do these 3 bolts up here, and I think I got one guy down there. And this whole yellow color should come off. Yellow cover should come off. All right, well, I've got the cover off. And that was that big pulley that I pulled out and couldn't remember what it was for. But it would appear now, because the belt goes behind that unit, that I've got to get the crank pulley off. So I think I'm gonna pull the radiator out, which will be a lot easier now that I've just pulled everything off of it. I think I've got like 2 wires to the fan that I'm gonna pull, and then I'll probably pull the puke tube off. I'll pull that out and try to figure out if I can get that pulley off. And then I think before I do that though, I'm gonna set the engine wherever it is I gotta have it, because I don't wanna have to rotate the engine. I guess as long as the belt's on, it doesn't matter. But so the reason why I'm doing the belt is because this is an interference engine. And what that means is that the valves open so far that they can actually hit the top of the piston if everything's out of time. So if the belt snaps and the engine's just spinning, whatever valves are open, they can be open in a position where when the cylinder comes up, it can bend them and, damage stuff. So I'd rather just have a new belt on it and know, because we don't have a service history with this car. It looks okay, but we don't really want to take the chance. So we're just going to replace the belt. We're going to replace that bearing. I'm gonna try to figure out how to get all that nonsense off, but I think I'm gonna pull the radiator first, and then once I get that out, I'll pull the plugs and start rotating the motor to get it to where I need it. And then once I have it there, I'll start working on getting that pulley off. All right, it's another day. I have the radiator out. I tried to get the pulley off, but I can't stop the engine from turning. So I had to call someone to tell me how exactly I'm supposed to do this and the way that he's done it before. So I'm gonna get under the car and show you what he's done. So apparently the solution is to stick a pry bar in the Weebo and put the transmission in 4th gear, I believe he said, and then try to snap that nut off. Well, not snap, but you know what I mean. So I've got this in place. I'm gonna go put the trans in 4th and have a go at it and see what happens. Get the engine to stop rotating while I'm trying to do this. Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. All right. Now let me get this back in its timing position. No, that was that. Okay. That's there. Interesting. And pulley's off. Okay. I got the pulley off. Well, it looks okay. Let's see what happens. All right, now I've got to figure out how to get the belt off and how to get that off. Oh, God. All right, I've got the belt off. I had to loosen a bolt that was here that is no longer. I'm going to put this somewhere before I lose it. But this guy was in here, and the spring was up against that, and in that hole I pried this. I got the tension off, yada, yada, yada. Now I've got to replace this guy. So I'm taking this whole bracket off so that I can do that. I'm probably going to end up pressing it off of here, but naturally it hits the water pump, and now I understand why it told me to remove that pulley. So I'm going to rip the bolts out of that so that I can get this guy off and try to press that off of its little bracket and get the new one on. Listen, I'm fully aware that this is not the correct way to do this, but I don't currently have the tools to do it any other way, and I'm kind of interested to see if it'll work. That actually kind of moved. That's fucking cold. Genuinely wasn't expecting that to work. I should probably compare this to the one that came off. Same size, a little bit different profile. All right, guess I don't need a hammer for that. Oh, duh! It's got that. It's got the other thing on it. This isn't press fit. It's just. I've got it on crooked. So this guy goes in there, and I'm gonna get that stupid little bolt in here. Okay. And then this spring rests on that guy. And how am I going to do this now? Can I? I wonder if I can use a brake tool to get this in here. Okay. It's almost looking promising. Oh, come on. Come on. Oh, no, come on. I keep getting the other end hooked on stuff. Yes. Okay, now get that out of there. Thank you. All right, so there's a little bolty thing I've got to put back on there. All right. I bet it was like that. Okay. And then those guys. Those two guys. So I've got to put tension on this because there's a shoulder on one of these washers that helps center the pulley or the tensioner rather on its little shaft there. Well, I feel like there's probably a torque spec on this. Alright, so apparently this nut is supposed to be torqued to 33 foot-pounds. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay. Spinny. Nice. Alright. Time for new belt. See how this goes. All right, I have everything together. I had to stop filming because I got annoyed and didn't understand what I was doing. So what I did was, in order to get the tensioner to move as much as I needed it to, I actually took the spring off and got the belt on and then got the spring back in here afterwards. Now I've got the crank pulley back on and torqued down. I've got this tight and that guy tight and all that jazz. So I'm gonna rotate this over by hand and see how badly I and if it's all good, then I'll slap everything back together and hope for the best. Okay. All right. Here we go. I think I'm actually gonna put a mark on that flywheel on the thing so I know how many times it's been around the block. Okay. All right. So. Oh. That's one. Coming up on two. And that's two. And you should be right back where you were. And you are. Fantastic. All right. Now I can put the rest of this back together. Well, I've just about got everything back together. The only thing I need now is a gasket for the coolant union that goes on the cylinder head up the top where those two hoses meet. And then I can slap that all back together and try to bleed the system. Is there anything else? No, I mean, I've got to do, like, parts of the ignition system and all the other stuff that I bought, but at least the timing belt is done now. So I think I'm actually going to end this episode here because I've got other stuff that I want to work on, kind of like shift my time around various projects. I'm still waiting to hear from this guy about what he wants to do because I gave him some options because that motor's toast. So I think what I want to do on the next clear day that I have, I'm gonna move the yellow car back into the warehouse and bring the 60 ragtop in and start doing the brakes because all of the brake parts came yesterday. So I'll start filming that as well. So thank you for watching this. If there's anything specific you want to see, leave a comment down below. Otherwise, share with your friends. Subscribe at a minimum. And thanks for watching. See you in the next one.